You truly wish to know the lore of Crowvidius Croteus, child? The third Dark Lord, an infernal undying scourge who haunts the land like a relentless virus of the plague god. So be it. But I warn you, children, this tale is not one of heroic victory. It is not a hopeful escapade of flourishing bonds, a showcase of the triumph of human connection in even the direst of situations. Nay, this story is a dark, bloody affair from beginning to end. It is the grisly reality of our multiverse that such beings can be born and through the right crucible of circumstances become a malignant horror upon all that might chance upon them. For this reason, I will keep this story as prompt as I can, for even cosmic light years away, I fear reprisal from that devilish beast for speaking of his forbidden past. Crowvidius' story begins within a nameless peasant hamlet located near a kingdom far removed from most events of intrigue and note in the infinite worlds of Minecraftia. Unfortunately, even at birth did fate conspire against Crowvidius's better fortunes. He emerged from a painful near-death birth from his mother's womb, a deformity so obscene that the village apothecary attempted to strangle the infant post-haste, stopped only by his panicking, begging mother. You see Crowvidius's father, a nameless, argumentative drunk who pissed away the Croteus bloodline's already meager coin into gambling and booze, had disrespected the altar of a strange, many-faced god. Long ago, of course, its representative, a witch resplendent in mysterious otherworldly artifacts and magics, cast a curse upon the mysterious, presumptuous man of a soiled bloodline, of a child resembling the demon that once terrorized and burned those lands centuries prior, Israfel. Only the father knew exclusively of his fault, but was too cowardly to tell his wife, producing a child with her knowing of the consequences and praying that somehow the witch was merely a deranged liar. Crowvidius resembled a monstrous creeper, yet with skin paler than moonlight, eyes bloody and crimson, and a gaping maw that even at birth was rife with serrated, gnashing teeth. His father, ashamed of both himself and his horrid creation, fled the family, and died shortly later of tuberculosis. Crowvidius had no siblings, no extended family to speak of, only his mother. Luckily, given his mother was the bastard child of the village's high elder, she and her newborn were given coin enough to survive through secret shipments dispatched to their hovel at the end of every week. Through this coin, they eked out a humble living. Crowvidius was feared, hated, and demeaned by virtually all others in the village. The only school refused to admit him. The other children refused to play with him, and the adolescents and adults cursed him for his sickly, devilish appearance that evoked the accursed memory of Israfel's shadow. But still the boy was desperate to play with the other children. They seemed like they had so much fun, and against his mother's warnings he tried and endured crushing rejection repeatedly. The most odious of these incidents occurred when Crowvidius asked his fellows to play a rudimentary game of kickball with them. After a huddle and conspiratorial whisper, they agreed. As it turns out, Crowvidius was the ball, and his frame Somewhat malnourished and easily identifiable from the village muck due to his albino sheen, was kicked around relentlessly for hours till the children had their fear and left him to rot, laughing and cursing him all the while. Over time, village livestock and pets disappeared without a trace. Cows, sheep, wolves, ending up in pits dug throughout the village outskirts found days later in ways too grisly to describe. Their bodies half eaten, with only bones and scraps of flesh to vaguely identify them. These were truly horrid events, and there were accusations and inquiries and investigations. Yet without conclusive evidence, not even the High Elder and his council had the heart to dispense a penalty upon young Crowvidius. These incidents led to an intensified isolation and harassment of the boy, however, to a point where he rarely left his thatch-roofed home. Soon enough, these struggles became irrelevant. A legion of bandits, emboldened by the local kingdom's recent string of military losses, terrorized the countryside. They were beset upon the village like locusts, the pitiable defenses marshaled by the High Elder pulverized in minutes. Crowvidius watched the bandit's vicious leader run his dagger through his mother's heart as she shielded her boy, and remained paralyzed as he watched his cruel home burn. Noting the boy's mutative appearance, the bandit leader saw a vile opportunity and spared Crowvidius solely from his village and offered him a place amidst the brigands, conditionally if he ate his own mother's cadaver. With little option, Crowvidius did as commanded, much to the bandit warlord's vile satisfaction. Joined now with this legion of exiles, outlaws, and killers, Crowvidius became an object of sadistic amusement and waste disposal. Bodies from their raids they couldn't bother to burn or discard up to avoid kingdom knights from discovering their atrocities. They had the monster child devour. Crowvidius was kept in a cage adjacent to the bandit camp. And indeed, this cave grew in dark legend. He was tossed the corpses of humans, elves, dwarves, and even mobs. Their blood his drink, flesh his food, and it sustained himself indefinitely. During this time, faint voices he heard from childhood grew louder, more authoritative. They claimed themselves to be gods and dark lords from ages past, though he understood not what that meant. What he was solely interested in was their offers of salvation from this damnable life, to give him an existence of power, influence, wealth, but beyond that all clarification of the true nature of the multiverse, of everything. It helped not Crowvidius that his appearance and constitution became ever more monstrous, as regardless of his disposition he was still human, and engaging in cannibalism brought about numerous debilitating parasites that decayed and rotted him ever further. Finally, even the bandits' luck ran out. Now regrouped, the kingdom's military launched an assault on their camp, and none were spared their wrath. In the chaos, guided by this infernal congregation of voices, Crowvidius fled. One voice stood out from the others, booming, powerful, like the entire universe itself congealed into a single unified embodiment that wielded calamitous, cataclysmic truths as its greatest weapon. It verbally guided Crowvidius through lands rife with danger, through scores of roving mobs and monsters, and away from troops of gallivanting knights and hungry brigands. He was taken to an abandoned church, though not constructed to the honor of any god he knew. It was unlike any building he'd seen before, recognizable yet architecturally so otherworldly, alien. What happened after Crowvidius entered that building, I know not. What I am aware of is that he emerged changed, still a demon hungering for flesh, but refined, composed, determined to spread his new master's word and carve his name into the annals of Minecraftia and then the universe's